Yes, yes, hold tight. Scream if you want to go faster.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
What's going on, team? How's it going? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. How's it going? I do hope you're doing well. Really do hope that. Maresca has spoken in his first Chelsea press conference. Wow. Owen Wilson, it's done. He said some interesting stuff, and I like him. He's a serious guy. Reece James also spoke as captain. First of all, I've been a silly knobber. Yes, I have. The game is tonight at 3 a.m. All of you are telling me, whether it's here in the comments or on my social media, Instagram, at Football Yannick on Instagram, should you want to follow me. And I was like, yeah, I know it's tomorrow, technically, because it's 3 a.m. in the night. But you're right, it's actually tomorrow. Yeah. So I purchased the stream. I'm not going to watch it live. I'm hoping they'll do a playback in the morning and I can avoid the score. And I'll react to Chelsea versus Wrexham. Hopefully, right? But today, we are going to reflect on what Maresca, the Chelsea manager, has said in his first press conference. He spoke about Enzo Fernandez, of course. Really interesting stuff. He spoke about the injury crisis at Chelsea. He spoke about the inverting fullback. He spoke about the targets at Chelsea. Is he going to win the Premier League? Is he going to be given time? So pretty much they covered the juicy stuff, bro. We know what kind of football he wants because he kind of explained that in his first interview with the Chelsea media. That sort of aggressive, keep the ball, dominate is his word he likes for his idea. Yeah. And he also spoke about where can you see Nkunku playing, which is a massive one as well. So to be honest, fair play to the journalists for asking the appropriate questions that I would want answered. And yeah, he gave a pretty good account of himself, pretty diplomatic, certainly with things with Enzo Fernandez and stuff. But you can expect that. So I'm gonna tell you what he said and my thoughts on it today, and how, what can we learn from that. So again, as always, thank you for joining me. Strap yourselves in. Do strap yourselves in. Thank you for supporting the content. Super simple. Drop a like, subscribe if you want to, and if you choose to, hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Oh yeah. First of all, Reece James also spoke to the media. Something that Maresca said also about captains, for sure, Reece James will be one of the captains, part of the leadership group. Kind of infers that maybe he won't be the captain in isolation. Look, I love Reece James, guys. I do. I think he's the best right back in the world on form. And he loves Chelsea. Tick, tick. I do have reservations about his ability to act as a leader and intermediary. A mediator, maybe? And he seems a bit shy, he's quite reserved, he's quite, introverted, and, I quite like a Chelsea a skipper, a captain to be a little bit, assertive, confident, but whatever, I'm not saying he shouldn't be captain. I just said, look, I've got no issue with, say, Maresca coming in and sort of evaluating, and being yeah, he's a leader, but maybe we're going to have a few leaders. So yeah, Reece James didn't say too much. He was also asked about the Enzo Fernandez situation. He said he had spoken to Fernandez and indeed the players affected. He dealt with that question quite well, I think. So then he's going to keep it in-house. Good terminology, captain terminology. I'm going to keep it in-house. I have a feeling he was briefed heavily on this situation about when asked about it. So I have a feeling those phrases were programmed into him, but fair enough. I love Reece James. Yeah. For me, he does his talking on the pitch. So, yeah, bro. All right, then. So we are going to talk about what the Chelsea manager said. Firstly, I like him. Obviously, we saw his Chelsea media. It almost seemed like he was a bit nervous there. Maybe a bit more comfortable now. He seems like a serious dude. He's got a good command of English. Maybe not to the level of someone like a Thomas Tuchel, but certainly similar of a Pochettino. Maybe even more than Pochettino. Pochettino's more charismatic, but I don't necessarily need this charisma. And also, Enzo Maresca is a novice, a rookie coach to a degree. He's not gonna be Dak swanging immediately, is he? Because he sort of needs to be humble and recognize where he is in managerial career, right? So we might not have the same Pochettino been there, done that kind of thing. But I do like his demeanor. Serious dude. He looks like he could get mean as well, which I quite like. Yeah, there's something about him that I really, really like. So look, of course, off the bat, instantly, unsurprisingly, he was asked about the Enzo Fernandez situation, which I'm certain every single one of you know about if you're watching this. And Maresca, I've written some notes here. He sort of inferred that it is sorted, that it seems sorted. He's spoken to Enzo Fernandez, Maresca, and indeed the other players. I'm assuming the players affected, the French players as well. And he says that the situation is clear. He keeps saying the situation is clear because the club put out a statement, Fernandez put out an apology. That's all you guys need to know. And I've spoken to the players. He says he doesn't think there'll be an issue when Enzo Fernandez returns on the 29th of this month, which is 5 days' time. I'm guessing he'll join up in America in 5 days. And he says, look, these are all people. These are all human beings. I think I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially that mistakes happen. He just basically kept reiterating without saying, oh, they've all forgiven him, it's all fine. He's saying, I don't think it'll be an issue. Obviously, and this is me talking here, not Maresca. Obviously, the prevailing factor is it's an exciting new time at Chelsea. All the players want to impress the new manager. They want to play. Of course, they're going to stand up for themselves, and if they feel like they've been subject to racism, they will stand for that. They've done that, certainly like Wes Fofana, Datro Fofana, etc. But they will want to absolutely just play football now, do really well, trying it in that team. Like Wesley Fofana was praised as the doing really well as that right-sided defender, and hopefully we can move forward from the Enzo Fernandez situation. Obviously, the relationship between Fernandez and the French black players will be tarnished, but it'll be up to them to mend if they want to mend their relationship. Alright, so he also did speak about the centre-backs. Of course, Trevoh Chalobah has been left behind. He was asked about Trevoh Chalobah, and he says, first of all, it's sad. And interestingly, he has presented it as his decision. Maybe that's, I don't know, a ploy, but he said, look, the right-sided, right-footed defenders, we've got Axel Disasi, we've got Tosin, who of course they've just signed. He's got really good sort of leadership qualities, and he's very tall, very good in the air. Like we got Tosin from Fulham on a free, put him on significant wages. He's coming. He's here to play at Chelsea. Fine. And then what I was pleased about, as you know, guys, I am a big fan of Wesley Fofana. I think he's got the capacity to be the best centre-back in Europe. Obviously, he's coming back from an injury, so we'll see how he plays. But I do think his ceiling is insanely high. And he said as well, Wesley Fofana is playing really, really well in that right-sided position. So that's 3 players there. And he says, look, I don't want to, essentially the squad's got to be manageable. He didn't react to the idea about him being for sale, shop window. He was like, I needed to make a decision. So maybe that helps the narrative of Chelsea being the sporting directors being heartless monsters. And Maresca's like, yeah, look, we've got loads of people there. I had to make a decision. So very interesting to see and hear that. Right. Another good question asked was about the Chelsea injuries scenario, because obviously Chelsea had a nightmare season with injured players last campaign, and they said, how can you fix it, Enzo? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is an absolute circus. And he was sort of saying that it's difficult to judge sometimes from when you're in the club and there's an injury crisis, like there was at Chelsea last season. But he says when you're looking from the outside in, which of course he was doing throughout last season, he says you don't know. So he hasn't essentially given an obvious answer, like he hasn't been there for long enough. I wonder if there was an inference here that, like, medical team, there's nothing wrong with what I do, so I can't answer it at the moment. Maybe. I'm guessing there a little bit, but I wonder if it is just very much a medical team issue, of course, which Chelsea have revamped constantly. We're always changing the medical team, so, fingers crossed. I mean, it can't get any worse, can it? Touch wood. Right, a question that I was really appreciative of from Ben Jacobs was asking about the inverting fullback. He explained about the players at Leicester City he inverted the right back position. But he said, because you've got, Renato Vega and Marc Cucurella, isn't it logical to invert the left-hand side? Because these players are made for this, essentially, right? But Maresca sort of was like, maybe, not really. And he says, we've been doing it with Reece James, which we've all been, or many of us have been excited about, because Reece James is at the perfect profile. He referenced how he's watched loads of his games at Wigan on loan when he played in central defensive midfield, and they've been doing it with Reece James in pre-season, which is kind of really exciting. I spoke at length to a degree about Reece James inverting into the midfield. Not only would he be an excellent player for it, he's physically strong, he can be good defensive, he's an excellent passer, Reece James, and also it could kind of save his legs from, we were worried about his hamstrings getting up and down, and many of us want to put him in a back three at that right centre back where he locked down Vinicius Jr. and still looked really good. But maybe this particular role where he starts as a right back, inverts into midfield, suits him well. So I'm really interested to see if he can do that. And also, rather interestingly, Maresca confirmed that they've also been doing it with Malo Gusto, and he's been doing it quite well. Now, Malo Gusto, for me, is the type of player, a little bit like Ben Chilwell, who I think, that's probably not going to suit him. And do you even want him doing that? Malo Gusto's strengths was getting back and putting in slide tackles and getting up really, really quickly and putting in excellent crosses and stuff. Just very conventional fullback stuff. Ben Chilwell's strengths are getting up the pitch and inverting in midfield and being making those, inverting into the attacking box and making those striker runs. So you're and you're getting back and being a fullback. So maybe it doesn't suit Chilwell. But similarly, I didn't think it suited Malo Gusto, this guy that's just flying up and down with chalk on his boots and putting crosses in. And, he's not short, Malo, but he's not stocky. Is he the guy you want, just looking at the builds of players, it suits Reece James more. But they've been doing it with Malo Gusto, and he's been doing it really well, which I think is very interesting. And look, if you keep Malo Gusto on the pitch, it's not a bad thing, is it? No. All right, a couple more to get through, guys. So yes, he was asked the big question. Look, Chelsea are a big club. This is always the question in the first press conference. Especially when it comes to Chelsea managers, at least. All big clubs, but they're Chelsea are tasked to win the Premier League, to challenge for the Champions League, and this, that, and the other. You've been given a 5-year contract. Will you be given the time to meet these targets, sort of thing? Which is every Chelsea manager gets this question. And he just pretty much said, look, man, I'm here for the same targets. It's not will I keep my job for a little while? It's no, yeah, I'm here for the same targets, so... it's not me doing it for them, it's us doing it for us kind of thing. That's me paraphrasing a little bit there. But, good answer, pretty concise, pretty clear, pretty short, but essentially saying, I'm here to win the Premier League with Chelsea because it can be done with Chelsea, essentially. So it's not about me, hanging on and trying to... It's not necessarily, as strong as... he kind of did in his Chelsea media, the Pochettino and Tuchel, we're here to win... he wasn't as passive and laissez-faire as Graham Potter, we'll have a go, see what happens, sort of thing. It's I'm here to win the Premier League, so we'll see what happens. And a bit like the inverting fullback question, a really interesting question on Christo Nkunku. I keep saying I feel like people are sleeping on Nkunku. I think he's such an amazing high-profile attacker. He's, of course, senior as well. How old is he, 26 or whatever? Is he 27 yet? Because we signed him when he was 25? Yeah, he's 26. So he's not even 27 until the middle of November. In his prime, and he's an excellent player. In terms of where is he going to deploy him, he positionally, Maresca said, well, he can play everywhere. And he's very good at taking in information. He's very pleased with how... maybe because he's one of the adults in the room, or on the pitch, should I say. He's taking in tactical instruction very well. He can play as a wide, he can play as a number 9, a striker, and he can play as an attacking midfielder. We want forwards who can play in different positions. And he says we want players that we can play in different positions. We know this. We reacted to the Matt Law article, the Swiss Army knife players. You want players that can interchange, move, and feel comfortable occupying different positions on the pitch, and he certainly feels like he can do that in Nkunku. So yeah, even if he starts theoretically down the middle, if Nico Jackson's on the left, if they swap positions mid-game and Nkunku goes to the left and Nico Jackson goes to the middle, you think absolutely fine. They can play the rest of the game like this and be very, very effective. These are the kind of players that Maresca wants at Chelsea. All in all, quite pleasing, very impressive, not too sensational, not too many negative headlines. Good questions asked. Again, shout out the journos who asked about, obviously Enzo Fernandez, but, the captaincy, Trevoh Chalobah, the inverting fullbacks, the, dynamism of the attackers in Nkunku, the versatility, everything, man. It was all covered. So well done, journos. I feel satisfied with Enzo Maresca's first press conference. What do you think? Do you feel positively about it? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, really appreciate your input, guys, here on the channel Football Therapy. An amazing community we've cultivated here on the channel. Respectful and intelligent conversation in the comments. Do consider subscribing if you want to. Hit the bell if you choose to. Thank you for liking, and keep it locked to Football Therapy. See ya.